Hi, this is Christelle Martinette, and I'm here today. It is the 24th of August, and um, I woke up this morning, and every morning when I wake up, I roll over, pick up my phone, and look to see what time it is. And it was about 7. It was exactly 7:36, and at the same time, I found the mail, and all of these messages from subscribers who were saying, "Christelle, are you all right? We heard of the earthquake," and tons. I was going through, and I thought, what, did I sleep through an earthquake? And I started reading all of the messages, and then I went to go look at the news, and I tried to look at, and the first thing that I found was, of course, that there had been an earthquake, and it was outside the city of Rome, in the same region where Rome is. Rome is the capital of a region that's called Lazio, but at a corner of this region where it meets two other regions. And the heart of, I'm looking at my Vera Sibilla cards here because, as the title mentions, the one of the villages that was hit the most is a village called, let me find it for you. Of course I can't find it. It's called Amatrice. Amatrice in Italian is an old version of the Italian language that is the female version of amante, which is the male, and amatrice is the female. Now, these Vera Sibilla, the first thing I thought about was this card, Amatrice. Now, this is the Vera Sibilla deck, and not all the Vera Sibilla decks called this card Amatrice. As you can see, there's the 12 of cups, the 12 of hearts. This is a queen of hearts, and a queen of cups. And usually they would call, in many decks, they're called l'amante for the male, l'amante for the female, but they use in this deck Amatrice. And this is the name of the town that was hit, one of the towns that were hit the most in this earthquake. And I immediately thought of these cards, and I thought, oh my God, I guess I'm being called to give a reading. Now, Amatrice, as I said, is the queen of hearts. Okay. Now, oh, by the way, for those of you who have written me at the same, well, that list of messages that I received a lot of people. I received also a person who was buying the first two lessons of La Vera Sibilla course that I have online on my YouTube, on my website, and I went to go, and that's what made me think of this card Amatrice. So I'm going to make a reading here as a tribute to this Italian earthquake. And no, just to give you an answer I've tried to answer all of them. I hope I've answered every one. I am not in that area. I am, I usually live in Rome. I work from Rome. And, but unfortunately, about a month ago, I had my own series of earthquakes, and I had to move. And I'm in this lovely area where I used to come when I was a child. And this is an area in the mountains, in the Apennine Mountains, not very far, actually, from where the earthquake is. And you can hear in the background there's a stream nearby, water flowing. And I always walked here, and I used to think, well, I'm going to give my readings from now on. There's just a lot of people in the town, and this is a little a scenic route where people may pass. And but it's lunchtime now, and since lunch is such a religious moment, I'm hoping that there will be no people so I can give the reading. Now, as I said, this is a tribute to the Italian earthquake, but it is not a reading, of course, for the fate or the destiny of those people. Unfortunately, when an earthquake strikes, well, by the way, Rome is not a seismic area. So the city of Rome itself has never, as far as I can remember, I hope I'm not mistaken, has not experienced earthquakes, but the hills nearby have. And when it happens during the night, for those of you who have ever been in this experience, this town here as well, many, many years ago, about 20, 30 years ago at least, was also hit by, not family's property was, thrown to the floor and everything had to be redone. It was hit by an earthquake. But when an earthquake strikes in the middle of the night and you're sleeping, it really is the worst time. And there's a lot of people under those buildings that fall apart. I had just had lunch, and there was the news, of course, nonstop talking about this. And there was an operator, there was a man, a volunteer, who was talking to a woman who was apparently under different cement blocks, and she was alive, and he was talking to her. Look, we're here. Just keep breathing. We'll be taking you out. Don't worry. And if you have to pee, do it. Pee. And she said, I don't know if I could do it. And he's saying, just relax. And then, so they were showing us all of the ins and outs, and the newborn child that was found still alive, and all of those tragic stories. Now, I know that there are tragedies all over the world. This is apparent. This is evident. It's clear. I mean, we live in a life, and this is what life's treasures holds, the good and the bad. So, and I know I don't talk about happenings, occurrences that in other areas of the world, but today I was struck by this because of the emails, because of the Amatrice, because of La Vera Sibilla, and I thought, let me do a reading. And the last reading that I put up, this Lenormand Mini Grand Tableau, was about an hour and 35 minutes, and it took me 5 hours to upload. This is an area where uploading is very, very slow. So I'm waiting to do the monthlies, and this is going to take me a lot of time to upload. But let's see what the Vera Sibilla talk to us about today. Now, I'm going to do an extended spread, separate the cards into 3 decks. I'll choose the middle deck. This, by the way, this spread is in my Sibilla course over and over and over again. That course has over 20 videos and 15 lessons. It's well, it's interesting for those of you who are interested in doing that kind of course. Now, I'm going to, with the pile that I chose, I'm going to, let me see if I could put this, I have these spines under my backside. Oh, they're pulling through my pants. Hold on. Let me see if I could turn my back to you just a second. Excuse my back. I hope you can still hear. The pile that I chose, I'm going to spread in rows of 5 cards. Again, this is not a lesson of the Vera Sibilla. This is a spread to talk about what's happening. So there are 3 rows exactly of 5 cards. Now, there's a lot. Okay, the first cards under the decks that I didn't choose, Dottore, the doctor, and the conversazione, conversation, and the doctor. So we could say these are trying times. Like I said, I've had my share of earthquakes in the past month, and this is why, one of the reasons why I'm in this area. But these are trying times, and everyone I speak to, every client, every friend who comes to me, they just say crazy things are happening. So it was befitting, when the earthquake came up, I thought, well, of course, there had to be an earthquake today. Now, these 3 rows of 5 cards are telling me that, yes, there is fate, that fickle finger of fate that has been waggling. It does hit. It has hit. What does that cause? It causes a new beginning. It causes an opportunity, bambino, for a new beginning. And we have to remember that. However, we have the deliranti, the delirious men, the delirious people, and that is our first reaction. But il letterato, for all thinking people, we rationalize what occurs to us and try to understand, if not why, because the many whys that, I've been asking why for weeks now, but the many whys are not for us to understand, and a psychic is telling you this. Christelle Martinette is telling you that no matter what, things happen, and they're there for a reason, and we are not to know exactly why. Readings are here to give us guidance. They're not here to give us answers. They're here to give us what we need to know and not what we want to know. So when somebody comes to me, will I see him again? When is he going to call me? And I answer, I look at the cards and I say, this person's not even the cards. He doesn't even exist. Oh, well, I just saw him yesterday. Well, that's your answer. If that person's not in your life, they don't want to be in your life. Why is a question you need to ask yourself in terms not why that person's not in your life, but why is it bothering you? That's when you get to learn about yourself. Healing is all about knowing and learning about ourselves. Now, so we have that first row. The second row, however, does talk about allegrezza al cuore, happiness in the heart, things that are not to be known, the military, and the consolante sorpresa, a consoling surprise. So there is, out of 5 cards, there is a focus. There's a focus vertical line here that I'll talk about afterwards. There are workings behind the scenes. There are things hidden. There are definitely things hidden with the military and the domestico, the 19th century domestic. There is a reunion, though, a reunion of people coming together. Look around. We are not alone on an island. It is your choice whether you want to speak to others, confide in them, talk to them, band with them, get together. This is a matter of choice. It is in the cards. The last row here talks about, well, there's a jealousy card. Let's see what the jealousy card really means. It's right next to the Gran Consolazione, which is one of the best cards in the deck. We have the Amica, the Harmony card. Then Sospiri, oh, finally, or when is it coming in? And then the Belvedere, meaning finally it is coming in. What do I have here then? I've got a focus of consolante sorpresa. It's a consoling surprise. Today, we're meant to look at the positive side of things that are coming our way, those that do console us, those that are surprises in a positive way. The whole vertical row is bambino, consolante sorpresa, and amica, harmony. This is an extremely positive message right here. What is it today? Today's the 24th. I'm looking at the calendar. The 24th of August. We have coming up the 1st of September, which is the solar eclipse. And I'll be, talking about that further down. I'll be putting up the monthlies pretty soon. And then we have the, I think it's the 16th or the 18th, I can't remember, the lunar eclipse. Those are whammies. The September is going to be, a really important, let's say a really important month. But what's more important than getting the ground shifted from under your feet? All of a sudden, a tower situation, you have an earthquake going on. It's a new beginning. There's a consoling surprise, and there will be harmony in your wake. Now, in 3 rows of 5, as these have come out, there's a chevron here, and I read a chevron. And the chevron talks about things that are working behind the scenes that we are not aware of, that we are not party to, that, however, bring us to harmony, amica, the friend, female friend, domestico, and artista. This is letterato in the other decks. This is all about reawakening your senses and your processes of thinking. And I'm not saying rationalization, because there is a moment when it's windy here, you see I'm covered up, there's a moment when you cannot rationalize. You cannot rationalize love. You cannot rationalize interpersonal relationships. You cannot rationalize life. There is a moment when the universe calls on you to have faith. Now, and this is what I'm seeing in the cards. Another thing that I thought about when I talked about this artista that is called Literato in the other desks, many people who have signed up for my La Vera Sibilla course, What Would Life Be Without Them, an extra low price that I'm going to keep it at. You can look at my website, www.christellemartinette.com. Go and look under La Vera Sibilla course and you'll find all the information. Now, those of you who could not find the deck, this deck with a blue background is now again available in Amazon.com. I don't earn any money from Amazon. This is not a plug for Amazon, but it's called the Everyday Oracle. It's an English version. Everyday Oracle, but this is the card. This is the deck with the blue background, if I'm not mistaken. And that's the deck you're looking for. All the others would not really give you all of the cards and a full deck. You would be playing without a full deck. All right, now, going back to this reading, I said there is this focus vertical line. Now, there is also right before the vertical focus for the day and the surrounding days, there is dispiacere, very sadness, militare, that's strength but silence, and there is this extremely wonderful card, Gran Consolazione. What are these telling you? These are telling you, hold on tight. You may be sad. Keep the faith. You are not meant to know, but you're called upon to find your inner strength because Gran Consolazione is on its way in all realms. Abundance in emotions, abundance economically speaking, that is coming. Before that, what do we have? We've got a very particular trio. And this is vertically speaking. We've got the male enemy, allegrezza al cuore, happiness in the heart, and gelosia. Gelosia is just sadness here. I'm not reading it as jealousy, but it can be. I'm having trouble holding the cards up. Jealousy comes when a lover believes you to have another male. And I'm speaking to the females now. However, this occurs in a climate where there's happiness in the heart. Let me get where these cards are. Now, after this focus of the spread, there are another 3 cards which are telling as well. There is the delirious man, deliranti, il domestico, and the sospiri. Sospiri, as I always tell my people in my courses, that sospiri is an ambiguous card. Sighing because finally the boat is coming in, or sighing because when is it going to come in? That's ambiguous, but we have here the deliranti, and that is mirroring this sighing, sospiri. So it's telling me there is still a lot of unsureness and a lot of uncertainty as to what is going on. And typically the domestico, the house servant from the 19th century here, hides things under his cloak. We don't know that. We are not meant to know that now. But again, we end up with these lovely 3 cards where we have the artista, the literato, the man, intellectual, could be a scientist. We have the reunion card, riunione, and then we have belvedere. The future is the last card out. Bright future. Ladies and gentlemen, we need to keep a focus on that. I'll say it again. We need to keep our focus on belvedere, because even if her monocle is backwards, and that too, together with sospiri, are ambiguous in terms of we don't know whether it's coming in close or it's far away because the monocle is turned around, we are not meant to know. The cards are asking you to have a leap of faith. Let's trust in the universe, ladies and gentlemen. I have to. I've undergone a lot of earthquakes this last month. This is just the last in a series. I hope this was of help for you today. Namaste, ladies and gentlemen. Do write to me. And also, one last thing. As a tribute to the terremoto, the earthquake, I'm going to give away 3 free card readings. Again, 3 free 45-minute card readings to the first 3 people who write to me on to my address, readings@ChristelleMartinette.com. Now, what happens when I do this usually is a lot of people write, and I'll count 1, 2, 3, and I'll answer those and try to schedule. I hope to get back to everyone and say, look, I cannot because I don't have the time. This is a very busy time for me because of my earthquakes, my personal earthquakes, and because of work. We do have to put food on the table personally, and so I'll give away these 3. I do hope it will benefit someone who really needs it. Namaste, ladies and gentlemen. A big embrace. Till we read together again. Bye-bye.